They tell you to stop overthinking, to relax, to just let it go. But no one ever asks why your mind goes there in the first place, why you notice patterns others miss, why your brain replays moments like it's searching for something important, why silence doesn't feel empty, it feels loud. Psychology reveals a quiet truth most people get wrong. Overthinking isn't always anxiety. Sometimes it's high-level processing happening without instructions, a mind trying to understand deeply in a world that rewards speed over depth. And once you see what's actually going on inside your head, you might stop trying to shut it down and start learning how to guide it instead.
Here's the first thing psychology helps us understand. Overthinking isn't your brain malfunctioning. It's your brain working overtime without a clear endpoint. The common belief is that overthinking means you're anxious, insecure, or incapable of letting go. But psychologists observe something more nuanced. Many people who overthink are not thinking too much, they're thinking too deeply. Their minds naturally move beyond the surface. They don't stop at what happened. They move to why it happened, what it means, what could happen next, and how it connects to everything else. This is called elaborative processing. Research suggests that some brains are wired to process information in layers instead of snapshots. Instead of grabbing a quick conclusion and moving on, these minds stay with the material. They turn it around, they test it from different angles. Imagine two people watching the same scene in a movie. One thinks, that was sad. The other thinks, that was sad, but also familiar and kind of symbolic. And wait, why did that line hit so hard? That second person isn't broken, they're processing meaning, not just events. The problem starts when the world tells that person something is wrong with them. Why can't you just stop thinking about it? Why do you care so much? Why are you making it complicated? So instead of understanding their mind, they start fighting it. And when you fight your natural processing style, the mind doesn't calm down, it tightens. Psychology explains this through something called cognitive load without resolution. When your brain senses unanswered questions or emotional loose ends, it keeps the system running, not because it enjoys torturing you, but because it believes there's something important still unfinished. That's why overthinking often shows up after conversations, decisions, or emotional moments. Your mind is scanning for meaning, safety, and understanding. It's like having a detective brain in a world that keeps saying, "Stop investigating." And let's add a little gentle humor here. Telling a deep processing mind to just stop thinking is like telling a river to just stop flowing. Good luck with that. Now, here's where things get misunderstood. Overthinking isn't always emotional. Sometimes it's intellectual curiosity mixed with emotional sensitivity. Studies show that people high in cognitive complexity, the ability to hold multiple perspectives at once, often experience more internal dialogue. Their minds naturally simulate outcomes, conversations, and possibilities, not because they're pessimistic, but because they're mentally thorough. Real-life example. You send a simple message. The reply comes back, shorter than usual. Most people shrug. You notice the punctuation, the timing, the tone. Your brain goes, did I say something wrong? Are they tired? Is something going on I should be aware of? That's not weakness. That's high social awareness combined with pattern detection. But without emotional boundaries, that depth turns inward. Instead of understanding the world, you start interrogating yourself. And that's where overthinking becomes exhausting. So here's the key claim of this chapter. Overthinking is depth without direction, not dysfunction. When a deep processing mind doesn't know where to land, it keeps circling, not because it's broken, but because it's searching for clarity. Psychologists suggest that the goal isn't to shut down this kind of thinking, it's to contain it. Two simple, ethical takeaways you can try. No diagnosis, no fixing required. First, give your thinking a container. Instead of letting thoughts roam all day, set a small window. Write, reflect, ask the question intentionally. When the mind knows it will be heard later, it relaxes now. Second, shift from "what's wrong with me for thinking this" to "what is my mind trying to understand?" That single reframe reduces internal resistance, and resistance is what fuels mental loops. You're not overthinking because you're weak. You're overthinking because your mind wants meaning, safety, and coherence. And once you stop shaming that instinct, you can finally learn how to guide it instead of battling it. Which leads us to the next question. What happens when a high-processing mind grows up in a world that doesn't slow down enough to meet it?
Here's the uncomfortable truth psychology keeps circling back to. A deep processing mind struggles most in environments that reward speed over understanding. If your brain likes depth, nuance, and context, you're not built for a world that says, decide fast, move on, don't overthink it. And this mismatch matters more than people realize. Research suggests that modern environments, social media, fast conversations, productivity culture, reward quick conclusions, not thoughtful ones. They reward reaction, not reflection. So what happens when someone wired for deeper processing grows up inside that system? They don't slow down the world, they speed themselves up. And that's where overthinking quietly turns into self-pressure. Psychologists observe that people with higher cognitive sensitivity often internalize the demand to keep up. Instead of honoring their natural pace, they start rushing their thinking, which paradoxically makes it more chaotic. Think of it like this. A deep processing mind is like a high-resolution camera. It captures more detail than average. Now imagine forcing that camera to shoot hundreds of photos per second. What do you get? Overload, noise, blurry images that never fully process. That's what overthinking often is. Too much input, not enough integration. Real life example. You're in a group conversation. People are talking fast, jumping topics, half listening. You catch subtle shifts, tone changes, pauses, facial expressions. Your mind starts connecting dots while the conversation is still moving. By the time you're ready to speak, the topic has changed, again. So you stay quiet. Later, your mind replays everything. Why didn't I say that? I should have spoken up. Did they think I was weird for being quiet? From the outside, it looks like overthinking. From the inside, it's delayed processing in a rushed environment. Studies show that people high in reflective thinking often need more internal time to integrate information. When that time isn't available externally, the brain steals it later, usually at night. Hello, 2 a.m. thought spirals. And let's add a little humor here. Your mind chooses bedtime for deep philosophical analysis like it's scheduled on purpose. Ah yes, your brain says. Now that you're exhausted, let's review every life decision. Classic. But here's the psychological insight most people miss. Overthinking isn't just about thoughts. It's about unfinished processing. Your brain isn't trying to sabotage your peace. It's trying to finish its work. Psychologists refer to this as cognitive completion drive. When experiences aren't fully processed, emotionally or intellectually, the mind keeps them open like background apps draining battery. And in a fast world, deep processors accumulate many open tabs. Messages you didn't respond to the way you wanted, conversations that moved too fast, decisions made under pressure. Each one stays unfinished, so the mind revisits them. Not because you enjoy it, but because unresolved information signals uncertainty. Now, here's where the misunderstanding becomes harmful. Society often labels these minds as too sensitive or overly analytical, but research suggests that high-level processors are often better at long-term planning, empathy, and complex problem-solving. Their strength just doesn't show up well in fast systems. So instead of asking, how do I stop overthinking? A more psychologically sound question is, how do I create enough processing space for my mind to finish what it starts? 2 grounded takeaways you can try. First, slow input, not output. You don't need to stop thinking deeply. You need fewer simultaneous inputs. Limit background noise, reduce constant scrolling, give your brain one thing at a time. Second, build integration rituals, short walks, journaling without structure, quiet time after social interaction. These aren't self-care trends, they're processing necessities for your kind of mind. And once you create space instead of pressure, something shifts.
Overthinking softens, clarity increases, thoughts begin to land instead of loop. But there's still one more layer we haven't touched. Why does overthinking feel emotionally heavy for some people and strangely neutral for others?
Here's where overthinking stops being just mental activity and starts feeling like emotional gravity. Psychology suggests that not all overthinking carries the same emotional charge. Some people can analyze for hours and feel fine. Others think deeply and feel drained, heavy, or strangely sad afterward. The difference isn't intelligence, it's emotional attachment to meaning. High-level processors don't just think in facts, they think in significance. They ask questions like, what does this say about me? What does this mean for my future? Why did that moment feel so important? When emotion enters cognition, thoughts don't just circulate, they sink. Psychologists observe that people with strong emotional awareness often blend thinking and feeling into a single process. Their minds don't separate logic from emotion cleanly, so when they reflect, they don't just analyze events, they re-experience them. That's why one small interaction can feel massive afterward. A tone shift, a delayed reply, a look that felt off. To someone else, it's nothing. To you, it's a signal worth decoding. And again, not because you're insecure, but because your brain treats emotional data as important information. Research shows that emotionally attuned individuals are more likely to engage in counterfactual thinking, imagining alternative outcomes. What if I had said it differently? What if I misunderstood? What if this means something bigger? This isn't self-sabotage, it's an attempt to learn. Your mind is trying to reduce future uncertainty by simulating possibilities now. The problem, without emotional grounding, simulation turns into rumination, and rumination feels heavy because it lacks resolution. Here's a relatable moment. You're lying in bed, the day is over. Suddenly, your mind pulls up a memory from 5 years ago like it's breaking news. You cringe, you replay it. Your brain goes, see, this is why you should have known better. And you think, why am I still thinking about this? Because your mind doesn't experience time the way calendars do. It experiences emotional relevance. If something never felt emotionally completed, it stays open. Now let's gently challenge the belief that this makes you fragile. Studies suggest that people who process emotions deeply often show greater empathy, moral sensitivity, and self-awareness. They don't skim life, they feel it. The downside is emotional weight. The upside is emotional intelligence. The key is learning emotional closure, not emotional avoidance. 2 grounded takeaways to help here. First, name the emotion, not the story. Instead of replaying the narrative, ask, what am I actually feeling right now? Sadness, embarrassment, fear, regret. Naming emotions reduces their intensity. Psychology calls this affect labeling. Second, practice emotional completion. Write the unsaid sentence. Imagine the conversation ending safely. Let your nervous system feel the closure your mind never got. You're not erasing the past, you're updating your emotional memory. And here's the most important reframe of this entire video. Overthinking is often intelligence trying to protect emotion. It's a system designed to help you understand, prevent pain, and create meaning. It only becomes painful when you treat it like an enemy. Which brings us to the final question: what happens when you stop fighting your overthinking mind and start respecting its design? Somewhere along the way, you learned that a healthy mind is a quiet one. That peace means fewer thoughts, fewer questions, fewer inner conversations. And if your mind doesn't go quiet easily, you assume something must be wrong. But psychology invites a different conclusion. A mind that thinks deeply is not defective, it's active. It's searching for meaning, safety, and understanding in a complex world. Research suggests that some people are wired for depth over speed, for integration over reaction. Their minds don't skim reality, they study it. They don't just experience life, they process it. And yes, that comes with weight. It means you feel things longer, you revisit moments others forget, you ask questions that don't have immediate answers. But it also means something else. You notice subtleties, you care deeply, you build insight instead of assumptions. Overthinking only turns painful when you believe it needs to be eliminated. The moment you stop treating your mind like a problem to fix and start treating it like a system to understand, everything softens. You don't have to chase silence. You don't have to shut yourself down. You don't have to become less. You just have to give your thinking direction, boundaries, and compassion. And if there are moments when the weight feels too heavy, when thoughts loop into distress instead of reflection, that's not a failure. Psychologists remind us that support is not weakness. Sometimes a trained professional helps you translate depth into clarity. But never forget this: your overthinking didn't come from fragility, it came from capacity. A mind capable of holding more will naturally try to understand more. The goal was never to turn it off. The goal was to learn how to listen without letting it drown you. So the next time someone tells you to stop overthinking, remember this quietly to yourself: I'm not overthinking, I'm processing. And that, when guided, is a strength.